During dinner, my sister announced that she was pregnant and the father was my husband. That was the moment I shared my secret. You know that feeling when you believe you truly know the people closest to you. When you're sure that no matter what happens, some boundaries would never be crossed. I believe that too. My name is Marina. I'm 29 years old. And this is the story of how I realized that some people will do anything to get what they want. It was a Thursday in March when I received the news about my promotion. After 4 years working as a project manager at a tech company in Austin, Texas, I was finally becoming a commercial director. I couldn't stop smiling at work. I called my husband David and my younger sister Beatrice to share the news. Let's celebrate at Terzo tonight, I suggested. Terzo was a stylish Italian restaurant where dinner cost more than minimum wage. But I could afford it. I had earned it. I arrived first, wearing the navy blue dress David always said looked perfect on me. I chose a table in a quiet corner. I wanted privacy for the celebration. The restaurant was filled with executives and elegant couples, the kind of place where I felt at home after years of building my career. When I saw them walk in together, something felt off. Beatrice was glowing with a smile I hadn't seen in a long time. David looked tense. He always felt uneasy in expensive places. But that night felt different. There was a strange tension in the air I couldn't explain. "Congratulations on the promotion, Mari," Beatrice said, hugging me with unusual affection. She was never that warm, especially with me. We ordered a $200 bottle of Chianti, and I began talking about the projects I would lead, the 40% salary raise, and the opportunities for international growth. Beatrice listened a little too closely. David kept playing with his napkin. Then Beatrice interrupted my excitement. "We have news too," she said. She reached across the table, took David's hand, and my stomach dropped. She looked straight at me and said the words I never thought I'd hear. "I'm pregnant," Beatrice said softly. Then she added, "And David is the father." For a moment, everything around me went silent. The noise of the restaurant faded, the clinking glasses, the conversations at nearby tables. All of it disappeared. I stared at them, waiting for someone to laugh and say it was a cruel joke. No one did. David avoided my eyes. His face had turned pale. Beatrice squeezed his hand tighter, as if she had already won. I felt a sharp pain in my chest, but I refused to cry. Not there. Not in front of them. They started talking quickly, explaining how it just happened, how they didn't plan it, how they hoped I would understand. Beatrice spoke about the baby, about the future, about how difficult this was for her. David kept nodding, silent and guilty. Then Beatrice leaned back and looked at me expectantly. "So what are you going to do?" she asked. That was when I finally smiled. Because what they didn't know was that years ago, before the wedding, I had protected myself. While they were planning their future, I had already secured mine. And at that table, in that expensive restaurant, I realized something important. They thought this was the end of my life. In reality, it was the beginning of theirs falling apart. I slowly reached into my purse and pulled out the envelope I had hidden there. The one David never read, the one Beatrice would never imagine existed. I placed it on the table between us. Their eyes followed my movements, curious, confused, suspicious. "This," I said calmly, "is our prenuptial agreement. Complete separation of assets. Everything I built before and during our marriage remains mine. And David, that includes you." David's hand shook as he reached for the papers. Beatrice's face turned pale, her confident smile evaporating. You can't," David whispered, voice trembling. "Oh, I can," I replied evenly, pointing to the clauses one by one. Spousal support waived. Property division waived. Investments, apartment, stocks, startup, everything belongs to me. You signed it 4 years ago. Beatrice's hand flew to her mouth. I saw panic, the first time she didn't know what to say or do. David leaned back, realization dawning. You tricked me," he stammered. "I didn't trick you. I said. You were there when the lawyer explained it. You signed. Witnesses. All legal. Everything registered at the courthouse. For the first time that night, I felt power. Real, calm, undeniable power. They had tried to destroy me, humiliate me, take what was mine. But I had anticipated it. I had prepared. I picked up my purse again and stood. Am done here. Your lawyers can talk to mine. Helena Williams, Houston. She has everything you'll ever need to know. Beatrice's lips trembled. Marina, No, I interrupted, voice steady. You had your chance. You made your choices. Live with them. I turned, walked out, and for the first time in weeks, breathed freely. Outside, the night air was cool, refreshing, full of possibility. Behind me, I could hear David's stunned breathing, Beatrice's whispered apologies. But I didn't look back. I got into my car, locked the door, and allowed myself a smile. They had thought they were in control, but I had already won. The next morning, I woke up to silence. For the first time in weeks, there was no tension, no calls, no messages trying to manipulate or pressure me. I sat at my kitchen table, coffee steaming in my hands, and felt a strange calm. My loft, my space, everything I had worked for was safe, completely mine. Helena had already sent an email confirming the divorce timeline. 60 days. Fast, clean, absolute. I smiled. No disputes, no complications. David and Beatrice could protest all they wanted, it wouldn't matter. Legally, they had nothing. I decided to reclaim my routine. Breakfast, then emails, then planning. Work awaited, and I was ready. As commercial director, there was so much to manage, and I loved every challenge. The betrayal had strengthened me, sharpened my focus, clarified what mattered. By mid-morning, Simone called. Marina, congratulations. You handled everything perfectly. Honestly, I've never seen someone so composed after everything. I laughed softly. Thanks, Simone. Composure is my superpower. She chuckled. I mean it. You could turn this nightmare into, well, your victory. Victory. That word tasted sweet. I leaned back in my chair, looking out at the Austin skyline. The city sparkled in the sunlight, and for the first time in months, it felt like it belonged entirely to me. No one could take it away. Beatrice's texts still appeared, desperate, apologetic, fleeting, but I didn't respond. Not yet. Not ever, perhaps. David had tried to explain, justify, charm, but there was nothing left to say. Their choices had consequences, and I was no longer a victim to their actions. By noon, I was in the office, emails flying, calls scheduled, plans drafted. My team noticed a difference. I felt lighter, sharper, more driven than ever. Betrayal had been heavy, but it had cleared space for clarity, ambition, focus. At lunch, I treated myself alone to a quiet meal, thinking about the future. The loft, the startup, my career, my freedom. Everything was mine, truly mine. No one could touch it, no one could undermine it. Even as the memory of that dreadful dinner lingered, I felt a spark of gratitude. It had shown me who I truly was. Strong, independent, unstoppable. And no matter what, I would always protect what was rightfully mine.